Hi, my name's Sally Hunter. I'm a dual Olympian and Commonwealth Games and World Championship silver medalist for the sport of swimming. In 2016, I retired from elite sport and became a coach after missing my qualification for my third Olympic Games team at the age of 31. During my time as both an athlete and a coach, I learned some extremely important factors that I believe play an integral role in me starting my own business, but also about me becoming a mental health advocate for young people in sport. I have had an extremely privileged career as an athlete. I learnt some amazing things about my sport and myself. I believe that sport, in particular community sport, hold an unrealised potential to contribute and improve the mental health and well-being of not just all young athletes, but also an entire community in sport. So how did I get to this point? Well, I was born to swim. My great aunt Evelyn Lacey went to the 1936 Olympic Games and had to overcome extreme obstacles to get there. I come from a family full of coaches. My grandparents were coaches, my uncles, my aunties and my mother were all swimming coaches back here in Perth in a community club. And I guess my path was always going to go that way. I loved being on pool deck and being a part of such an incredible community from a really, really young age. I was brought up in a community full of people that weren't just people from my family, that were from outside my family as well. And I think that was the great thing about being part of such a small community club. I then decided at a very young age that I wanted to become an Olympian. I think I was 13 when I was given my great aunt's diary, and I thought, you know what, if she can go to Olympic Games, so can I. So I decided that that was my goal, and I did everything that I could to achieve that. I ended up leaving and moving to the AIS in Canberra, so the Australian Institute of Sport in Canberra, when I was 19 years old. It was a pretty tough decision for me to make, to leave a community where I felt loved and supported and respected, to go to this brand new place where all of the people that I'd had around me for so long supporting me weren't going to be there. But I took the opportunity to go, and I learned so much from my experience over there. I think at the time I probably wasn't quite ready to deal with everything that it had to offer, but I went over with an open mind and just really wanted to see how I could go. Now, I guess I speak to everybody about this, but knowing that I've been to 2 Olympic Games and knowing that I've achieved what I have in swimming, does anyone know what I did when I was a junior athlete? How many medals I won? How many junior Australian teams I represented? Well, the answer is none. I actually was not a very good swimmer, despite my swimming prowess of my family and the fact that I have my mum and generations of swimmers behind me. I was really not a good junior swimmer. I was quite unsuccessful as a junior. Yes, I qualified for a couple of national championships as I got older, but I actually never won medals as a junior and never represented Australia on junior teams. So despite not being a really good junior swimmer, I moved on to bigger and better things. When I was 19 and after I moved to the AIS, I had so much at my fingertips. I had the best coaches, the best sports scientists, nutritionists, support staff all around me to help me achieve my goal in swimming. But I was still missing my family. I was successful at the AIS. I actually achieved my dream by moving there. I went to 2 Olympic Games in 2008 and 2012. And learnt so much along my way. Being at the AIS taught me what it took to be a great athlete. It taught me resilience and that I needed to overcome things when they didn't quite go the way that they'd planned. But although the environment was conducive to success, it was also really, really challenging. It sometimes created a lot of anxiety. I saw others around me suffer from depression, lack of confidence and anxiety far worse than I did, but I still experienced those things. There was a fear of speaking up about your vulnerabilities as an athlete, of looking like you were weak or incapable because of them, and having your choices taken away from you, such as losing your scholarship because you chose to speak up about your vulnerabilities. Elite sport taught me to push through the hard times and tough times, to seek excellence, but sometimes I didn't realise that I was more than just a swimmer. Swimming and my results in the pool were just part of who I was, and that I was so much more than just a swimmer. Following the 2012 Olympics, I had a regrettable incident with one of my coaches at the AIS, and I ended up moving and following my then fiance to South Australia to take part in a new program at the Marion Swimming Club and part of the South Australian Institute of Sport. From the moment I started there, it was like a new beginning for me. It was a new environment, new club, and a great new coach in Peter Bishop. From my first encounter with Peter, I completely looked at swimming differently, and he looked at me as more than just a swimmer. He cared about me as a person and taught me that if I was happy and able to do things that I loved outside of the pool, then I was going to be more successful in the pool. In my first 2 years of moving to Adelaide, I became Australian champion in both the 100 and 200 metres breaststroke for women. I ended up becoming a silver medalist in the World Championships in 2013 in Barcelona, and also a silver and gold medalist from the Commonwealth Games in 2014 in Glasgow. So that brings me back to today. I retired from swimming at the age of 31, and I think the things that I learnt in sport were so valuable to me, but it taught me so much about who I was as a person, but also my strengths and weaknesses. I learnt that I have incredible resilience, and that the things that as an athlete I put my mind and my body through to achieve my dreams was just incredible now that I look back at it. But I know now how important it is to have support networks around you of people you can trust and rely on, who believe in you and who will be there for you no matter what. It took me a long time to realise that it's really important for me to communicate and talk to people. And I think if the one thing I could take away from swimming is to teach others about communication and teach them that it's actually important to be able to go up to somebody and tell them how you're feeling and tell them what you're going through. When I became a coach, I understood that communication was such an important part of being a coach, but also it taught me how to be a great athlete as well. I think sport, in particularly community sport, has the capacity to change lives more than just a few people who might make it to an Olympic Games. We have the capability to reach so many people in our environments and to support them and care for them and help them achieve their dreams, even if it's not going to an Olympic Games. Yes, sometimes it's really hard to be vulnerable, but I think that people need to know that being vulnerable is okay, and coming out and being able to say that you need help is also okay.